What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Links and Locks podcast, the best bets. I'm Jason Sobel from Golf Bet. He's Ben Everill from the PGA Tour, and as we do every week, we're going to play 18 holes, make 18 bets for this week's kickoff to the FedEx Cup playoffs for the 2021-2022 PGA Tour season. The FedEx Cup, the FedEx St. Jude Championship, the kickoff here in Memphis, which is not the FedEx St. Jude Classic that it used to be. It's not the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational that we had the last 3 years. It's a new event for the same event. I don't know. We're playing TPC Southwind, Benny. That's all I know.
That's it, mate. Yeah, good to be back and good to see and hear everyone again, of course. Yeah, it is kind of weird, isn't it, to think that Tony Finau is the defending champion, but yet he didn't win at Southwind, where we did play last year, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll get around it.
How about the fact that you're a career all-time money winner of this tournament because it's taking on the history of the Barclays and the Northern Trust before it is Dustin Johnson, who
there you go.
I don't think he's playing this week.
No, not in that field. And not likely to get in either. Unlike others potentially.
All right, let's get to it as we do every single week. Yeah, 18 holes. You're on the tee, Benny. Fire away.
All right, mate, I'm going to go with my first winner, of course, of the week, as I usually do. I like to bookend this with an outright choice. I'm going to spoil for everyone here and say I'm near the top of the board for both of my choices this week in the outright market. We're in the playoffs. I think that the cream's going to rise to the crop over the next few weeks. So you'll get that from me. A bit of an unknown next time, obviously, at the BMW with a new course. But this week, with a little bit of history from the course in mind and just feeling where the game might be at, my first winner is Rory McIlroy, plus 1,100, I think was the best I saw him early this week. I've seen 900 to 11 to 1,200. So shop around, as we always say, find the best number. Rory's obviously played half decent at TPC Southwind before. I think 12th the last time he was there. He's had a fourth there when he should have won, and another top 10 to boot. Averages about 68 on the past 70 layout. So two-time FedEx Cup champ Rory McIlroy to start us off with a bang. Good chance for outright picks this week.
Yeah, you do always start with an outright, but it's usually more of a long shot. And so I have a long shot here. It's going to sound ridiculous in comparison to Rory McIlroy, but it's a guy that we've been talking about a lot lately. One of these rookies, we're just coming off a rookie, or now a rookie, who wasn't even a member before winning last week, and Tom Kim becoming the second rookie to win on the PGA Tour this season. But I'm going with a long shot, as I like to do, to kick things off. Just a little sprinkle on an outright, just in case we get something special this week. Sahith Theegala, I've been on him a lot this year. I'm all in on his talent, his skill level over the next 5 to 10 years. He can beat, if he plays his best golf, he can beat a field that's even this good. So at 130 to 1, I know you're going Rory McIlroy, and that's certainly got a better chance, but I'm getting a better number, a much better number. So Sahith, just again, okay. I'll get to my big outright later, but that's just a little sprinkle on somebody as a long shot.
No problem. I like that, mate. Look, I think there's a lot of guys at the top of the board that you could make arguments for this week. And yet this is the last time you're probably going to get a good shot at a long shot, like you said. As we shrink those fields, 70 guys at the BMW, obviously 30 at the Tour Championship with starting strokes involved. If you want to get your last sort of real lottery crack at it, this is the week. So, keep an eye on those choices while you can. And look, I'll see if I can give you something of value then. Who have I got for my long shot? I'll go early. I usually wait, but I'll go early. Cue up the music. Marc Leishman, 140 to 1.
Been waiting for him to do something.
Done nothing this year. Nothing, but yet still somehow finds himself around 60th or so in the FedEx Cup points list. Half decent effort needed to obviously maintain another week's play, but he was third back in 2019, I believe, when we first went there for a WGC. Has made obviously was like 50th, 30th in other events. Averages about 69 per round. Maybe, just maybe, as a long shot, he could find something. 140 to 1 is a good number for him. Maybe sprinkle in that like 20, top 40, etc.
Sure.
But Leishman's an option.
I like that. All right, I'm going to go with the top 5 for the fourth hole here. And I was thinking about Justin Thomas. I like him a lot this week. He won here 2 years ago in the WGC. I was thinking about Patrick Cantlay, who's been tremendous especially in non-major championships over the past 4 or 5 months. So I really like him, but I'm going to go with the hot hand here. I don't necessarily love him in DFS markets because I just think that coming off back-to-back wins, he's going to be very, very popular. But in the betting marketplace where you're not playing against anybody else, you're just rooting for your guy, Tony Finau to continue the hot streak, top 5 at plus 400, 4-1 this week.
Ooh, okay, I guess that pivots me into my matchup fades for this week. Two guys near the top or closer to the top of the board, I would look to go against this week. One being Tony Finau, who is the defending champion, as we said, from the Northern Trust, and the other, just because I think that his number is getting in there tight, and he hasn't necessarily had the greatest success at TPC Southwind. I'm just trying to bring up his numbers here from memory. I wasn't that impressed. Averages around 70, which is par, 34th, 65th, 27th, and a missed cut for Tony Finau at TPC Southwind. Him and Max Homa is the other one. A lot of people love Max, but I do not love what he's done here in the past. So I don't love what Max has done at Southwind. Obviously, is he a better player now? Absolutely. But I think that with the fact that he's pretty much been guaranteed a spot in the President's Cup team, that might take a little pressure off. And with a 71.3 average at Southwind for Max Homa per round, I'm staying away from him.
Benny, I love that play. You know why I love that play? Because you and I agree way too much on a weekly basis on this pod. So for the 6th hole, I'm going with my top 20 play, Max Homa at plus 190. Love him this week. He's been so consistent this year. I don't know. You can talk about some narrative about he's on the President's Cup team already, so he's not on that team yet. He needs to do some damage the next 3 weeks, and I think he will. 9 top 20s and 16 starts this year. That's a rate, of course, of more than 50%, and yet the implied probability of him for a top 20 is nearly 2-1 this week. I love the ratio between those two, and I'm playing him for a top 20. I like that.
Yeah, mate, it's not a bad move. And let me tell you, as I said, I'm not gung-ho because of course history, but I tell you, if you went out and told him that I was against him, I reckon he'd therefore go and finish top 10 straight up. As soon as you put...
And he would tweet about it too.
Oh, he would correct.
Throw you on the fire on Twitter. You'd have a million people responding to you.
100%. So look, he's definitely got the guts, if you will. And what we haven't even mentioned yet, which we should keep in mind, is this is a playoff event. I know it's not a major, but it is a level up. And guys who want to win the FedEx Cup, and they do want to win it, they do lift. And so, yes, course history is important. Yes, current form is important, but also that intangible of guys. And that's why I say the cream at the top that will get up for these bigger events will come true. You know, you will get the guys who can handle the pressure and do well. What are we at, 7th hole now?
7th hole.
Okay, let me go with my top 5 player. You mentioned him already. Look, he just fell outside of my 2 favorite outrights. Another guy near the top, but the defending FedEx Cup champion, Patrick Cantlay, is plus 300 for a top 5. Not only has he, been knocking on the door of victories basically this whole season and just quietly going about his business, he's been half decent in the past at this event. And I think top 30s each time he's played. Again, averages under par, well under par at Southwind. I see him being in there, that top 5, top 10. I've gone top 5, but I'd be surprised if he's not knocking on the door of victory come Sunday.
Yeah, I like that play. I think that the only reason I really didn't put it in top 5 instead of Finau is because we just saw so much of it last year, and I'm not sure he can replicate the same success in the playoffs as he had last year, but I certainly like him a lot this week. All right, let's go to some top 40s, and I think this is where you make your money this week. If you really want to turn a profit, especially with less than 125 players in the field this week, no matter what happens on Tuesday, and we're speaking on Monday evening right now, but there will be less than 125 players. So top 40s this week, all you have to do is finish in the top third of this field. So you're not looking for, this is not a 156-man field where you've got to finish top 25%, top 33%. That's a big difference. I'm going to give you 2 names of guys who are playing well right now. Chris Kirk, very high floor, plus 110 for a top 40. Look, he's just a good player. He just doesn't put up big scores. He may not have the ceiling of some other players at the same level, but the floor is very high. I think he's going to have a nice week. And the other guy, and a little trepidation here, I don't want to go too much more than a top 40 because he's playing so well, and I don't want to catch him on the one off week, but he's got 4 consecutive finishes of 13th or better. Scott Stallings is playing the best golf of his career right now. Top 40 for plus 120. I think that's a really nice play. Again, I know some people will be on him for top 10s, top 20s. I don't hate it. I just think that at some point the magic runs out a little bit, but I don't think it's going to run out to the extent where he completely goes the other way and misses the cut.
Mate, I didn't. I have my 2 names for top 40s, and Scott Stallings was on my short list. Just missed out. He has I believe, a second or a third at this event way back when.
Runner up back in 2013. Yeah, 9 years ago.
Right. So, and then your other guy you mentioned, Kirk, I believe, right before it went to a WC, was a top 10 finisher also at Southwind. So there are a lot of those names out there, and you're 100% right. It is the market to just hammer on this week. Just sit there on the top 40s, look at them all, do as much research as you can. In the minus number, I liked, since I'll go there for the 9th hole, I'll go there now for my top 40. So in the minus number, I liked Shane Lowry, minus 155. There, and in the plus, I've got Adam Scott at 110, plus 110. But you can go to multiple guys. Stallings, as I said, Jason Day is another one for a top 40 where you can get value. Let me see who else I had in mind. Oh, you know who else who's potentially could be massive? I didn't see his number yet, but like Stewart Cink is a guy who's got a long history there. Could finish top 40. You'd probably get decent odds. You go through the field, any sort of rookie as well, might be a guy to look at there, top 40s.
2 more names for you. One's a rookie. One's a guy just off the Corn Ferry last year. Taylor Moore, 5th and 6th in his last 2 starts. Stephan Jager, who's been running hot. And also, you see that German flag next to Jager's name. He spent his formative years in Tennessee, not too far from here. So I think that he should be familiar with, if not this course, at least the turf, the terrain, and playing in this type of heat, which, by the way, it is hot out here all week. I'm in Memphis at TPC Southwind. It is boiling hot throughout the week. So as we get to the back 9, Benny, tell them about PGA Tour Pick'em Live.
Yeah, mate, as again, we're talking about long shots and top 40s. PGA Tour Pick'em Live is a chance for you to put on essentially bets for free, no risk, and play a game where you play the odds, try to pick your winners, your top 10, your top 20, your matchups each day, gain points instead of obviously actual money, but with no risk. And the leaders at the end of the week do share in $5,000 worth of cash and prizes. So make sure you get in there and have a crack. We talked about those long shots. Another one I just realized that I'd left off, Trey Mullinax. Keep an eye on him for a top 40.
All right.
The last 2 events, last 2 events before they moved it to a WGC, he was inside the top 20. So another one there to look on.
He is exactly in 70th position right now, so trying to get into at least the BMW Championship and continue his season. All right, get to the back 9. I'm up on the 10th tee, and I'm going to go with my first round leader play, and this shouldn't be too much of a surprise. I thought about going for him for an outright play. I know he's very popular. I was on #golfbetting Twitter earlier today. It seems like every single person is on this guy. Sam Burns. I will limit myself to a first round leader play. He is, I believe, 27th in round 1 scoring this year. He was 16th last season. The guy just continues to show up on Thursdays. And usually when he plays his best golf, he starts strong as well. 3 of his 4 wins on the PGA Tour, he's started really well. And so at 40-1, I think that's a nice play. Remember, he lost in a playoff last year to Abraham Answer. So I think Sam Burns getting off to a good start is a nice play this week.
Right. So then that puts me onto my top 10 play. I have Sam Burns down for a top 10 this week, plus 300 around about, depending on where you go. It's funny, he was the guy. I have 2 guys put down for first round leader, and in the end, I went for the one that's less value, which is unlike me. I just, like you said, runner up Sam Burns last time. Just things point towards him playing well here. Strokes gained tee to green, I think, is pretty decent, right? Etc. Look, top 10, you could put him anywhere across the board, really. You could go for that first round leader play. You could put him anywhere. He could win this thing. He's proven he can win this season. I think he's up for the challenge. But yeah, I've got him in top 10 as my spot with that 300 number.
Yeah, I expect it to be a good week for him, and apparently a lot of other people do as well. 12th hole, I'll go to my top 10, which I haven't named yet, but this guy, a little bit of a bigger number. He was one stroke out of finishing in the top 10 at the Wyndham Championship last week. He does not seem like he shies away against big fields. He's ranked right about 40th in the world right now. Maybe he just moved up a couple of spots after that T13 last week, but I think he's got top 20, top 25 type talent. I expect him to keep moving up that world ranking over the next 6 to 12 months. But Aaron Wise has shown that he is a very good player. I don't like the fact, Benny, that his strokes gained approach shots decreased from the first to the second to the third to the fourth round last week. That said, he's been very good in strokes gained on approach shots the entire season. He's a good iron player. So I'm willing to take a chance on that coming back this week. The rest of the game, driver, wedges, putter, have been very good. So Aaron Wise, top 10, plus 550.
Yeah, all right. As I said, like you do have to sort of keep in mind about where that game is trending or whatnot. But you and I both, have said many, many times on this pod that the guy is going to eventually just entrench himself in that sort of upper echelon of the game and sit there amongst the better players. Why not be one of those? We always get someone. We always get someone who makes a big run in the playoffs. Always. Why not this be his year? And Speaking of guys who've done that before and made big runs in the playoffs, my top 20 bet this week, Billy Horschel, plus 170. Billy's a winner of the FedEx Cup before, has got on a run before. He's a big history at TPC Southwind. He's made the cut all 8 times. I think he played there. Couple of top 10s in there already, 5, I believe. And he's obviously last week he was a big choice of a lot of people last week, but I'm pretty sure I said on this podcast, wait 1 week for Billy Horschel because he said himself, I needed just a couple of rounds to get exactly where I need to be. Well, he's had that now. So I'm expecting Billy Horschel to sort of make a bit of a fist of this week. And I've slated him in the top 20 at plus 170.
I like him a lot. He's one of the last guys that didn't make my list of my best bets on here. But yeah, I absolutely like Billy Horschel this week for all the reasons you just said. All right, 14th hole. I was on Russell Henley as my favorite outright last week. I regret nothing. He at least gave us a chance. We had some skin in the game going into the weekend, and he played well. What I've seen from Russell over the last 2 weeks, I've been on him both weeks, that he doesn't make very many mistakes. He didn't make a bogey until, I believe, the 5th or 6th hole of the 3rd round in Greensboro. So you have a guy that doesn't make too many mistakes. He's just not making quite enough birdies to get himself moving up that leaderboard enough. And so the ceiling is very high, or excuse me, the floor is very high. The ceiling might be a little limited. So I'm going to play Russell Henley in any type of matchups that I can get against like-minded players, similarly priced players. I'm looking at Tyrrell Hatton. I'm looking at Joaquin Niemann, maybe a Corey Connors, players like that. If I get Russell Henley against them, I think Henley's a really nice play in head-to-head matchups.
Yeah, 100. And you mentioned a few of the other names that were potentially on my fade list earlier. So yeah, you might have something there. Well, I'm going to go to first round lead next, and I'm going to just be honest with you all. These are I'm going to give you 2 names, and they're basically 2 names that I could have easily slotted in the outright. Could have easily said, hey, these are guys that you should look at for the entire tournament, and I'll stick by that. You can do these guys across the board. I just figured for the podcast, I'll throw him in first round lead. That is Justin Thomas, former winner here at TPC Southwind, and Matt Fitzpatrick, who'll go under the radar a little bit maybe. I was expecting actually his number to be a little higher than it is. But look, he's 68.5 strokes average at this course. He's had a 4th place and a 6th place, I believe, in the past at TPC Southwind, and he leads the tour in tee to green, strokes gained tee to green, which by a lot of people's judgment is one of the huge stats this week, because pretty much every winner going back as far as you can think has been inside the top 5 of that stat when they've won at this course. So with that in mind, don't sleep on Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I like that. I could certainly see him adding a playoff victory to that U.S. Open win from a couple of months ago. So definitely like that. Justin Thomas, by the way, scoring average of exactly 68 in his last 12 rounds in Memphis, including that victory 2 years ago. All right, hole 16. Look, lightning doesn't often strike twice in the same spot, but last year we had a 3-way playoff. Abraham Answer won over Sam Burns and Hideki Matsuyama. could have been a 5-way playoff. Cam Smith was right there. Harris English was right there at the end. If we get that kind of traffic jam atop the leaderboard again, I went and looked. DraftKings has plus 1,100, 11-1 for a 3-man playoff or more. I think that's a really nice number for a course that obviously has yielded that type of finish in the past. So we're only a year removed from a 3-man playoff. Look, at 11-1, I think it's a nice play. Maybe we get it again.
And just like last year, which was obviously WGC scenario, this is a playoff. So there's in lots of good players, lots of great guys, lots of people pushing. The Northern Trust last year, which Finau under its previous name was, a playoff between him and Smitty. So, it's definitely on the cards. And while I don't always, not many weeks I do look at that, this is one where you might want to have a little flutter, like you said, and something to push for down the stretch if your guy isn't the one that's getting the job done for you. But speaking of, I think we're down to 17, right? My total
17th hole
winner.
Who you got?
Huge surprise to everyone this one.
Come
you will not see this coming.
Are we playing
Cameron
the music?
Smith. Yes, we're playing the music. Cameron Smith is your favorite to win this week. Obviously, you mentioned last year in this tournament by its other name, he lost in a playoff to Tony Finau. And why is that relevant? It's relevant because Cameron Smith is a big game player. We've talked about this. He won the Players. He won the Open. He gets up for the big events. There are certain players who you just can't count out when the big stuff's on the line. He is very motivated to not only potentially win the FedEx Cup, but he knows that mathematically, world number 1 is in his grasp over the next few weeks. So with that in mind, he has a big push through this next few weeks. As I said, T5 by missing the playoff, where he tried the hero shot. He was trying to get into the playoff. He pushed his drive a little bit in the right. He was in the trees. Instead of just punching out and trying to make a par the smart way, he thought, bugger this, I'm going to try to win this thing through the gap, clipped a tree, ricochet, out of bounds, ends up 5th. I think that's the sort of play that actually can help him win. Again, he's just got that attitude. So Cameron Smith, for me, I think I saw him between 1,600, 1,800, depending on where you looked. Might be a play too. He might be one of those ones where you wait the first round. He might just sort of be hanging about, put a little bit on before tournament and just wait, see where he is after round 1. If he's a little behind, we know how he loves to chase. And if it's Rory, my earlier pick that he's chasing, he'll get up even more. If it's Justin Thomas, he loves beating him more than anyone. So double down on Smitty if you see him a couple behind Justin Thomas. If Justin Thomas catches as my first round leader and Cam Smith's 3 behind, triple up on Cam Smith from that point on, let me tell you.
Well, I like it, except he's not going to beat my guy, 18th hole. My favorite outright this week. Look, I spoke with a handful of players at TPC Southwind earlier today. Everyone says it's a second shot golf course. Yes, tee to green you need, but really it's about the iron game. I have one of the best iron players in the world who hasn't shown the results so far this year. In fact, missed cuts in each of his last 2 starts. Those both came in Scotland. There's nothing from the Scottish Open or the Open Championship that translates to 100-degree weather in Memphis here this week. So I look at Collin Morikawa, 4th on the PGA Tour this season in strokes gained on approach shots, one of the preeminent ball strikers of this current generation, at 30-1 with a really big number next to his name. If you look, Benny, over the last couple of years, Morikawa tends to show up when we least expect it. You look at his PGA Championship victory, it was like 45-1. Then all of a sudden the odds went down for a while. Then he went to the Open Championship last year, and all of a sudden he said, I can't play links golf, never really done it before. Odds went back up to 40-1. He won that one. As soon as we stop thinking about Collin Morikawa, he tends to play his best golf. I think 30-1 is a very good number on him this week.
100%. Like, I had sort of forgotten about him, if you will. I had sort of just slated him outside of the markets, and I think that's when he's absolutely poised to pounce. Which just coincidentally, you and I have been hammering one guy that we didn't say tonight. We've been hammering Will Zalatoris for weeks.
Yeah.
Now we're jumped off him. Watch that man, boys. That guys. That if Will Zalatoris wins this week because we didn't mention him, well, this is that little asterisk I'm putting on at the end of the pod. Like he's still there.
19th hole, Will Zalatoris.
Yes, exactly. Will Zalatoris, top. He was, I think, 8th in the only time he's played it. at TPC Southwind. He's gotten the chaos of the caddy change out. He's good enough to do something. Just don't sleep on him. Or Morikawa, like you said. But too bad Smitty will beat them all.
He very well might. But one thing on Zalatoris, I have no analytics, no metrics to back this up, but it seems like over the years, anytime an elite level player changes caddies, whether it's permanently or temporarily, they kind of want to show off for the new caddy. I know that sounds ridiculous that a top 20 player in the world wants to show his caddy how good he is. And yet it happens time and again where these guys, they just want to play well for a new caddy. Maybe it's something about, hey, tell me some new jokes. Let's have some new stories. Just a new feel out on the golf course. He's got Joel Stock, used to work with Ben Crane, knows his way around the PGA Tour, knows his way around this golf course. I think that's going to be a good partnership. I like Zalatoris a lot this week as well. This has been the Links and Locks Best Bets podcast. As always, you can find us wherever you find your favorite podcast. Download, subscribe, rate, listen to each of us every single week. For Ben Everall, I'm Jason Sobel. Good luck. Bets for this week's FedEx St. Jude Championship. Here's hoping you hit the green.